I don't know about that.
Won the Heisman, played baseball, do TV,
Walter Camp.
I enjoy all of them, so I'm very thankful and blessed that y'all do those things I love. So
You've obviously played the position. First, just your analysis of the quarterback battles, for lack of a better term, in this game. And
awesome. I love it. I think it's one of the best quarterback battles we've seen in a long time. I think both of them have a chance to win a national championship, SEC and Heisman. Very few games that you see both of the quarterbacks have that chance. But very few times both of them are putting up these numbers. I'm someone that I appreciate greatness. I appreciate it when I see it. I love it. I take it in, and I think that's hopefully what fans appreciate. And one of the things they appreciate in this game is not just 2 versus 3, not just the tradition and the rivalry, but also what you're going to see with both of these guys. And I know tomorrow on our show we're gonna be comparing them. We're gonna have to pick who has the edge at the quarterback position, and I won't give away who I'm gonna pick yet, but you have to pick one, and it looks like you're knocking the other guy, but I'm really not. You just you have to pick one, and I love it. I think it's incredible. We don't get to see it a lot, but I appreciate this, and I think both of them are doing an amazing job, not just at the quarterback position, but representing their school, representing the SEC, and making a name for themselves, and they'll be playing for a long time.
David just told us he comes to this game every year, so much hype, so much excitement, but he can never really come up with good reasons why LSU can win. So this is the first time.
Very different. There was reasons why they could have a chance, but honestly, it was a lot of hope and a little belief, and I think that's different. There's still a lot of hope, but there's also a lot of belief on how and why. And it's because they have an offense that's dynamic. They have receivers that can make one-on-one plays on the outside. They still have a running game, but you don't know what's coming. They can hit you a lot of different ways, and I love the changes. I want to give Coach O a lot of credit for having the courage to go from good to great. It's one of the hardest things to do in life. It's pretty easy to go from bad to okay. It's pretty easy to go from okay to good. It's really hard to go from good to great, because a lot of times to go from good to great, you have to make sacrifices, and you have to choose to say, maybe we'll take a step back so one day we can take 2 steps forward. And he said, okay, we're going to make that decision, which could have, if it didn't work out, it could have, one day that could have been his job, but it panned out for him. And he, if he is able to win this game, he's going to go down as one of the better coaches in LSU history for the change that he made and how it happened. And still a lot in front of him, but I think that was an awesome decision, and Joe Brady and what they're doing, and it's a reason for a lot of praise.
If you're Tua Tagovailoa, how are you approaching this game, and if you have to deal with something like that?
With the high ankle, you mean?
Yeah, the high ankle.
I've done it. It's not fun. It's not easy. I think he knows what it's like from last year, and these doctors and these trainers are really good, and they're getting him as good as he could. I'm sure he will have some stuff to help him with the pain, but then it's all about tomorrow afternoon. I think there's a certain place as athletes you just go where it's just you have to go into a place mentally where you know how important this game is to your team, to the season, to the championship, to your legacy, everything. And he'll be more worried about this game than he will the pain tomorrow afternoon.
If he's able to overcome that, do you think that vaults him to the Heisman, given that does that create like a Heisman moment in itself, overcoming that?
I think it depends on how the game goes, everything into it. There's so much to say, but is it something that he's had to overcome that gives him that could help him? Of course. I mean, I think you take everything into account.
It's not playing ankle, it's not playing foot, but having that, like, you played the position you've had.
Yeah, but it's still, I mean, people say that, but he still has to, I mean, he's so quick on his feet, and it's something he does so well. And a lot of their RPOs, it's not just the backs on the left side, it's on the right side too. So if I'm doing a zone read on my right side, I have to do a jump step fast, and it means I have to plan off my right and then be able to pivot off it as well when I land. And so I would say one thing is you're going to look to see the back more on the left, so it's easier. I open and ride, and then I just rock her back, and then I can throw. So I would say that would be something to look for in the game. If he's not as healthy as maybe some people will think, the back will be more on his left. It'll make it easier for his own fake on his right ankle. But it's difficult, man. Anytime you have a high ankle, it is not fun, and it is painful. So, I'm intrigued to see how well he can do, not in the pocket. I think he'll be okay there, but the few plays where he really has to step up or go run for a 3rd and 3 in a crucial 4th quarter play or something like that, now you're going to see, because this game isn't, it's going to be won on 5 to 7 plays throughout it. Which 5 to 7 is going to be, I'm not sure, but that's where this game's going to be won.
Tim, you kind of touched upon that Ogeron. You were playing in Florida when he was at Ole Miss, and not really thought of that highly at the time. I mean, how can you speak to his transformation, what he's learned over the years being a head coach and where he's at now?
Well, I think a few things that Coach O does really well is he's a motivator, he's a recruiter, and he gets people to buy in. And I think that's some of the most important things as a head coach is you don't always have to be the best in offense, defense, but you need to know how to motivate your players. You need to know how to motivate your coaches. You need to know how to give your guys an edge mentally. And I think that's something he's provided as a head coach. And people say, well, how does all your guys not have an edge? How do they not all play the hardest? You're dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and every week is different. And you have to be able to encourage them when their girlfriend breaks up with them. You have to be able to understand when they're going through a family issue. You have to be able to understand when they're not doing good in a class. And you have to be able to mend and cope and handle all of those things to be able to support that player. And one day he's having a bad practice. Why? Is it because he's lazy because he didn't study? Is it because maybe he's having sleep problems? Is it because he's worried about a class? I mean, there's so many things that go into it that coach has to be somewhat of a father figure to really be able to handle all those issues, because you'd be blown away at how many issues come from off the football field that transfer onto the football field. And I think the best coaches handle them really well.
You mentioned, obviously, you probably see a little bit more runs to the left for Tua. How else could that, right ankle affect? I mean, you were a guy that moved around quite a bit in the pocket.
I tried to.
He does pretty well when he can kind of freelance and get around and stuff like that. How much mentally can that limit a quarterback that is used to some of that, knowing that
the problem is that he might not feel like it limits him until he gets into the game. Then all of a sudden, a few plays in, oh gosh, and wow, now I can't take those steps. Now I'm worried about stepping up. Now I'm changing a little bit of the way I play, so my timing and my rhythm's off, because I realize in the first couple of plays, I'm not the same guy that I was, and so I have to adapt. Sometimes guys can do it and have success. Other times it can be very difficult, because if I'm used to really stepping up in the pocket and being able to throw on the run like Tua does all the time from a lot of different arm angles, now I can't do it with the same comfort. How does he adapt? And I think that's such a big key for him and mentally being able to handle that.
Anything else?
Lastly, I gotta ask you, you're the only one of the analysts that has a Heisman vote. How much is this game, or
It'll play into it a lot, for sure. I've said the last few weeks, if I had to vote the last few weeks, even to this day, Joe Burrow would have my #1 vote. But he's had the chance to earn it in so many big games. Tua hasn't had the chance in the big games yet. He has them in front of him tomorrow afternoon against Auburn, possibly an SEC championship. So he'll have a chance to make a statement. And there's still a few other guys out there that have. Justin Fields has big games in front of him. We'll see with Chase Young. I'm open to giving it to a defensive player for sure. So there's a lot of guys that still have a say. And it's amazing. You think that the Heisman's been a lot of years been won for the first 7-8 weeks. No, it's won the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season, because that's what a lot of voters are going to remember as well. And those games matter even more.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks
awesome.
very much.
Thank you.